She is The Daily Show's most senior correspondent, covering nail-biting elections.
He feels like he's almost got it.
Debating the finer points of Obamacare.
Healthcare.gov is the towel Obama is wrapping around our faces.
And drawing attention to corporate fraud any way she can.
Is this what you wanted? Fine, drink it in.
She is, of course, Samantha Bee, who, alongside her fellow Canadian comedian husband Jason Jones, joined Jon Stewart's epic social commentary, razor-sharp political satire, game-changing show.
Samantha Bee!
Sam learned her trade in a Toronto sketch troupe called the Atomic Fireballs, and even by a comedian's standards, her upbringing in Toronto was what you would call untamed. And she writes about it in great detail in a darkly comic memoir. But it's another book that brings her back home. Sam will defend Cockroach by Rawi Hage in CBC's Canada Reads competition. And while she's here, she'll weigh in on a certain news story that's dominated headlines at both sides of the border.
Samantha Bee!
Oh, no.
Hello, my dear.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Oh, I'm going to get excited, too. I'm going to sit on the edge of my seat.
Dude, you're in... Never mind. I mean, yeah, great. The Daily Show. Canada Reads.
Canada Reads.
That's fun.
I love Canada Reads. I'm so excited to be doing it.
Legitimately, you're not both people. You
No,
really
no.
do.
I legitimately love Canada Reads, so I'm so flattered that they asked me to do it. And I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Did you get to pick the book?
I did get to pick the book, and I learned how to read just for it.
Amazing.
No, I know. No, it's
Well,
great.
that school you went to in the west side of Toronto failed you.
Yes, I know.
Rawi Hage's book, Cockroach?
Cockroach. Honestly, you know, from the moment that I heard the title of the book, I somehow knew it was going to be mine. Yeah.
Tell me, okay, why Cockroach? Aside from the title.
First of all, it's a beautifully written book. Which is the story of an immigrant, from a war-torn country who comes to live in Montreal in the cold of winter. And it really, to me, is the story of a person who is on the margins of society, a person who is kind of in exile in the world, in an urban environment. It's phenomenal. I've loved it.
What's interesting, when I read about that and then had read your story, which in the weirdest way, even though you're not this immigrant, there's so much of that's your story, kind of in the margins, a family that was split, never finding your comfort or voice.
Right, yeah. I do think there's something, it means something to me. And also, one thing that I do feel is that everybody wants the opportunity to tell their story, because people just want to be heard. We all want to be heard. In my work at The Daily Show, we talk to so many different kinds of people, and everybody has a story to tell, and everybody's so excited when you just ask about them.
Speaking of wanting to be heard and our voices heard, wow, did Toronto get heard around the world?
Oh my God!
And you and Jason,
delightful
your partner in life and on the television show, have really done a good job of covering Toronto. Well, so from your perspective at The Daily Show, when The Daily Show people look at you two as the Canadians,
sure,
Hamilton, Toronto, they say,
well, you know what? I think that in this particular set of circumstances, Rob Ford really speaks for himself. Nobody really needed to come to us and say, what is going on with him, and how did that? Because he's so eloquent in expressing his own needs.
It is walking poetry, really.
It is poetry in motion. I mean, one thing that I think is interesting, and I hope it's okay for me to talk about this, but when he made his first confession, which was it was so outrageous and funny and weird for everybody in the office. Everyone was just like, what? In Canada? You have freaks too? And so everyone was glued to the television, and we were laughing, and then we did a thing on the show that night. And then after that, it was quiet, because John, honestly, I think, didn't want to go down in that direction. Was just like, this person is troubled. This person is obviously going through something. I don't want to be the person who continuously takes shots at someone who's on the downward trajectory. And then he went on television and talked about his wife's vagina And then everything changed. And then, you know, you're like, okay, well, if you're not gonna shut up about it, we're not gonna shut up about it either. I mean, now you've, and then he knocked that woman down, good Lord. But one thing that you know, because I have so many friends and my whole family lives here in Toronto, and they're like, it's so humiliating for Toronto, it's so bad. And I'm trying to express, and I know this is weird and contrary to what might seem true, but I think that Toronto has grown in esteem in the world, because certainly it has put Toronto on the map in a different kind of way, but not in a bad way. People are fascinated by it now.
Well, in one sense, when you are a city that's ready for prime time when you elect politicians who aren't.
Right.
And I think that's a rite of passage for us.
The word Toronto is on everybody's lips right now, and that is not a bad thing.
Take a look at this.
Oh, yeah, the atomic fireballs. Where's the, oh.
This is pre-Daily Show for you, right?
This is pre-Daily Show. I love this picture. I went out to dinner with these three women. They are three of my absolute best friends in the entire world. This is Alana Harkin, Fiona Carver, and Sarah Carver. They are fantastic women.
Speaking of Alana.
Yes.
Alana, do you have a question for Ms. B?
What?
Hey, George. Hi, Sam. I hope you're having a good time. Listen, I was just wondering if you could remind me of that story of your wedding. It was a wonderful time. We all had such a great time, and it was one of the first times that I ever had an experience with an older man for money. That went to a good cause, but sometimes at night, when I close my eyes, I still think about it. Can you remind me of that?
Okay, at my wedding, we thought it would be a fantastic idea to have a charitable aspect to our wedding. So we set it up that you could kiss a bridesmaid for money in the wedding.
Right.
And then my uncle. And then my uncle Frenched every single one of my bridesmaids in front of everybody at my wedding, and then put $20 in the jar. So that was good.
Right,
so it wasn't all for nothing.
$20 per bridesmaid?
Per bridesmaid. Per bridesmaid.
How many of those bridesmaids enjoyed it?
Zero. That's a big fat goose egg right there.
Stick around, more with Samantha Bee right after this.
All right, coming up, Sam's key to a successful marriage. Hey, Jason Jones, we hope you're watching. That is next.
Sam, it was supposed to be you and Jason. Where is Jason?
Oh, yeah, he'll be right back. He's just buying some crack.
Wait, Jason smokes crack?
Yeah, he's Canadian. John, we all do it. Smoking crack is one of Canada's most cherished pastimes.
Sorry, John, I'm late. I was just buying some crack.
Big bag of crack.
There's your moment.
That's an impressive bag of crack.
At what age do your kids really understand the details of your day and what you say on TV?
They don't care. It's great. They don't care at all what we do. They don't understand it. They don't wish to understand it. So I'm fine with that.
Anthropology time. When I say the key to a successful marriage is never having to say...
The key, well, I don't know that I would finish that sentence. I think I would finish a different sentence, which is the key to a successful marriage is speaking your mind in the moment, is being authentic and truthful in the moment, and not letting things fester, ever.
Have you always been good at that, or is that a process?
No, Alana taught me not to let things fester. Actually, she's such an open-hearted person, and so is my husband is actually that way. He's very direct. If he's bothered by something, he just lets you know, and it's actually fantastic. I think that, I just kind of grew up as one of these people who was just constantly, like, not letting people know what I felt about things, and both of those two people let me know that to be clear is so much more important.
He was on our show. He's on a panel that we did here. And he talked about the job you guys do, and he said this.
Tough for us because we're clowns. We just throw spitballs from the back of the room. I mean, it's so easy to do what we do. I think we do a disservice to the people actually doing great news out there by saying that it's all. But some journalists out there are phenomenal, and you have to search that out.
That's true. It's so true. Yeah. I had I had the privilege recently of sitting in, because I have a friend who works at the New York Times in the interactive video department, and he was like, you should come to our morning meeting and just check it out. It's really, really interesting. And so I came. They permit observers at their morning meeting, and I went to it, and I expected to be floored by it, but I was so floored by it. The work that they're doing on a day-to-day basis. And it's just a room full of brilliant people working so hard and doing such a phenomenal job.
Did it change how you approached your job?
No, not at all. No, not at all. Because I'm a jerk. I mean, I'm just a paid jerk. Like, I do what I do, and it's fine. And it's just, we're doing our thing.
If you get somebody through their day by making them laugh, then you change
That's true.
their world.
Tiny things,
Yeah.
tiny moments. If you can make someone smile, that's pretty
great to
great.
see you.
It's always great. Always a pleasure to be here. I love your show.
Samantha Bee, everybody.
Thank you.
She defends Rawi Hage's Cockroach, Canada Reads. You can check out Canada Reads March 3rd through March the 6th, CBC Radio, and of course CBC Television. We'll be right back.